Hello, my fellow butterfly travelers, and welcome to today's soul session. What's real versus what is residue, releasing borrowed beliefs and inherited patterns. Come on in, yes, all the way in. I invite you to set your burdens down beside you, let your shoulders drop, let your breath remember itself. Because this is your sanctuary, our shared field of truth where no borrowed belief can command you and no inherited pattern can hold you hostage unless you let it. I am Babs, your chief travel partner in this gentle revolution, the art of remembering what's real so that we can release what is residue. And for this next stretch of sacred time, give yourself permission to be here fully. Close the tabs in your mind, silence the critics in your shoulder. Invite your soul forward. Take a breath right here and feel how much space you are allowed to take up in this moment. And again, breathe deeper. Fill your belly with presence. Let your spine unfurl. Let your roots drop into the quiet ground beneath you. You are here. You are safe. You are welcome. Now let's begin where all remembering begins, by seeing clearly how we got tangled in the first place. You see, no child comes into the world with shame. No baby feels unworthy. No soul arrives stained. You were born infinite, uncluttered. But you were also born into a lineage, a family system, a culture, a web of human agreements. And before you could even speak, you were absorbing. You were a perfect little sponge, soaking up the world's stories to learn how to survive here. You learned when to smile so love stays. Learned when to shrink so anger doesn't come. Learned what to say to be good. And learned who you're allowed to be and who you must never be. And because survival is sacred, you did exactly what your tiny nervous system needed. You adapted. You hid parts of your fire, traded your voice for safety. You borrowed beliefs so that you could stay close to the tribe. And so the residue began to layer itself over your shining core. You see, residue is not just one thing. It is a whole wardrobe of illusions, a trunk of borrowed clothes that you never meant to wear, but somehow found yourself buttoning up every morning. It's masks slipped on so that you could be acceptable, armors strapped tight so that you wouldn't be wounded again, costumes stitched together by generations who came before you, each thread carrying a memory of survival, fear, protection, and hope. Some residue is heavy, thick like an old winter coat that smells of shame and stale apologies. It's the voice that says you're too much for this world, too loud, too honest, too needy. So hush, shrink, hide, fold yourself smaller than your truth, so that no one leaves you. Some residue is subtle, a whisper in the back of your mind that says real success must be hard, that rest is laziness, and that joy must be earned through sacrifice. It's the quiet agreement you never signed, but somehow keep honoring. Love is conditional. Belonging must be paid for in self-abandonment. And some residue is so sneaky it lives inside you like a ghost, invisible until you stand at the edge of something bold, something free, something new. And then suddenly your throat closes, your shoulders lock, your belly knots up, your body begging you to stay inside the familiar cage, because freedom feels dangerous when your ancestors only knew of survival. Residue seeps into your relationships. It's the way you settle for half love because your eyes watched grown-ups choose crumbs and call it a feast. The way you swallow your real truth because somewhere inside you learned that honesty means conflict and conflict means loss. The way you sabotage the tender sweetness of intimacy because a hidden belief whispers that you are unworthy, unlovable, and destined to be left behind. Residue curls itself around your money story too. Maybe you hoard every penny, afraid tomorrow might vanish like yesterday did for your grandmother. Maybe you spend recklessly because what's the point of saving when wealth feels shameful anyway? Maybe you live in a cycle of feast and famine because someone long before you believed that money was a sin, a betrayal of the ones who struggled. Residue burrows into your precious body, the tight knot in your shoulders that never loosens, carrying generations of burdens that were never yours to carry. The clenched jaw that holds back words you were once punished for speaking. The numbness you seek in food, in screens, in overworking. Gentle distractions to keep you from feeling the old ache underneath. And here is the truth, my love. Residue is not a punishment. It is not here to shame you or prove your brokenness. It's just an echo, a ghost of survival strategies that once protected your lineage, your younger self, your tenderest parts. Residue is leftover energy, stuck stories, invisible contracts you never consciously agreed to, but keep signing with every conscious choice. It stayed because no one told you that you could bless it, unhook it, and send it back to source. But now you know, and that changes everything. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I worked with a man named Samuel. Samuel had everything. A good job, a loving partner, healthy kids. But inside, he was haunted by this constant sense of not enough. No matter how much he accomplished, it never landed. He couldn't rest in it. We traced it back together. His father was a man who believed that hard work was the only measure of worth. You see, Samuel's father grew up in a poor farming family where idleness was sin and praise was scarce. That belief didn't start with the father. It came from generations before, passed down like a family heirloom that nobody really wanted. And so Samuel inherited the residue. If I rest, I'm worthless. If I stop, I will lose it all. The residue was not his fault, but freedom would only come when he saw it, blessed it, and chose to live by a different law, the law of realness, not residue. And so, my fellow butterfly travelers, I want you to breathe with me now, a slow, tender breath that tells your body that it is safe to soften. Close your eyes if that feels good. Let the world outside you blur for a moment. This is your sacred inward. Feel your feet on the floor, solid, supported. Feel the weight of your bones, the steadiness of your seat, the quiet strength of your spine. Let your sit bones root into the earth beneath you, this holy ground that has held countless ancestors, countless prayers, countless unspoken dreams. Right here in this breath, you are not alone. You are surrounded by the invisible choir of those who came before, some whispering fears that kept them alive, some whispering blessings they wish they could have lived. You are the living edge of all they survived and all they didn't know how to become. So let's gently sift, not what's harsh and with judgment or self-condemnation, but with the soft hands of a soul remembering its power. Bring to mind a place in your life that feels sticky, heavy, or stuck. A pattern that you keep bumping into, like a hallway you keep walking down that dead ends into this same dark room. Maybe it's a fear that loops, keeping you small no matter how loud your dreams get. Maybe it's the way that you hold your own power back, the way you silence your voice just before it says what is true. Maybe it's a secret belief about what you're allowed to have, about how good life can really be for someone like you. Let this pattern rise up in your awareness now. No need to force it. Just invite it forward like an old friend who has something honest to confess. And now ask it softly, like you're asking a child for the truth. Who gave you to me? Where did you come from, old friend? Did I choose you, or did I inherit you? Maybe it came from your mother's quiet worry, the way she flinched when she spent money on herself. Maybe it came from your father's silence at the dinner table, teaching you that truth is dangerous. Maybe it came from your grandmother who crossed an ocean with nothing but her prayers, who taught your lineage that sacrifice is the price of survival. And maybe it came from a church pew where you learned to fear your own holy desires. Maybe it came from a teacher's careless words, from a playground betrayal, from a lover's abandonment. Maybe it's older than any name you know, carried in the marrow of your bones, shaped by war, by poverty, by migration, by oppression, by whispered warnings passed down through bedtime stories and kitchen tables. Whatever you see, don't judge it. Don't wrestle with it. Don't hate it for showing up again. Just notice it. Hold it up to the light like an artifact dug from your own soul's garden. Say to it, I see you. I know you kept someone safe once, and I honor you, and I see you for what you are. This noticing, this gentle naming, is the beginning of your freedom. Because what we can see, we can bless. And what we can bless, we can release. So take another breath with me now. Feel your body. Know what is ready to be unhooked. Feel how your soul already remembers what is real. Now place your hand on your heart and whisper, I bless the ones who came before. I honor the love they could give, the love they could not. I honor the beliefs that kept them safe, and I choose now what is real. Feel the shift, subtle maybe, but real. That shift is the residue losing its grip. Let's go deeper now, beyond the stories, beyond the patterns, beyond the fear of what you have carried for so long. Let's slip beneath the residue and touch the bedrock of what has always been true about you. In metaphysics, we know not just with our minds, but within the deepest knowing of our being, that there is but one mind, one life, one source, one infinite essence moving through all things, breathing all things, being all things. And that essence is not somewhere far away. It is not hidden in the clouds, and it's not locked in a temple built by human hands. That essence is alive as you. You are not separate from it. You are an individualized expression of it, a unique wave on an endless ocean. A fresh breath of spirit discovering itself through your laughter, your tears, your questions, your longing, your hands, and your voice. And now this means, now listen close, you are not your parents' wounds. Their grief does not bind your destiny. Their silence does not silence your soul. You are not your ancestors' fears. You carry their dreams, yes, but you are not sentenced to repeat their nightmares. Because you are not the residue. You are the real that was here before the residue formed and will remain long after it dissolves. You are the light that the residue tries to cover, but light is not afraid of shadows, beloved. Light reveals the shadows so that you can choose again. And here's the great and holy mystery. Spirit will not override your agreements. Infinite love will never force itself upon you. You see, it waits, patient, unhurried, for you to remember who you really are. It waits for you to stand at the threshold of an old belief and say, no more. It waits for you to stand in front of the residue and say, thank you for what you tried to do, but I am not bound by you any longer. You have free will, the sacred ability to choose again, to renew the mind, to realign the story, to stand naked in your truth and let the old clothes fall to the ground. You have the holy right to change the pattern mid-sentence, to interrupt the inheritance with your own breath, to declare, this ends with me, this begins with me. And so the question, my friend, becomes a living prayer. Will you continue to live tucked inside the old residue, wearing coats that don't fit, echoing stories that are not yours? Or will you stand, trembling maybe, but unwavering in what is real? Will you stand in the holy boldness of your true self and say, I am not who they said I had to be. I am who I came here to remember. This choice, moment by moment, breath by breath, is where your freedom lives, and it is already yours. So here's a practice to carry you forward, the daily unveiling, if you will. Every morning, before the world comes knocking, sit quietly for 5 minutes. Place your hand on your heart and ask, what am I carrying today that is not mine? Where am I living by someone else's story? What is real for me now? And then speak aloud. I bless the residue, and I thank it for what it tried to do, and I return it to source, for I am real, I am free. Feel the breath return to your bones, and let the day unfold from that clarity. Let me share a truth from my own bones, so you know you're not walking this path alone. I want you to hear my heartbeat in this, because sometimes we think the residue is unique to us, a private flaw that no one else carries. But oh, how common these old coats are. There was a time in my life, years I can still feel in my body, when I mistook people-pleasing for compassion. I wore it like a badge of honor. Look how kind I am. Look how selfless. Look how willing I am to bend myself into 1,000 shapes just to keep the peace. I said yes when my whole body whispered no. I agreed when my belly clenched tight. I offered help when my own cup was so bone dry, and then resented the people I'd rescued for asking at all. I thought this was spiritual maturity, a soft, saintly surrender of my needs for the good of everyone else's. You see, I thought this was love, holy, self-sacrificial love. I thought that having no boundaries made me holy, untouchable, and good. But beneath that shiny kindness was, you guessed it, residue. Sticky old residue passed down through my mother's line, a fear of rejection that taught her to smile instead of speak, a fear of conflict that taught her to hold her tongue to keep her real feelings buried under layers of politeness, a fear of punishment that taught my grandmother and her mother before her that obedience kept you safe, invisible, unharmed. It was residue that said, if you say no, they will leave. If you speak your truth, they will hurt you. If you stand your ground, you will stand alone. It was residue that made my voice tremble when I wanted to disagree. It was residue that made me nod along to things that made my soul ache. And I didn't see it for what it was, not for a long, long time. I called it kindness. I called it compassion. I called it my calling to be the peacemaker, the healer, the bridge. But inside I was crumbling. My spirit was exhausted from carrying everyone else's comfort while betraying my own. And then that soft revolution. My soul whispered one day in a quiet moment when I was too tired to resist. Love does not betray itself. Real compassion includes the giver. True kindness never asks you to disappear. It was like a bell ringing in my bones. It was the first crack in the armor. And so I began, haltingly at first, to say no. Not a sharp no, not a punishing no, but a gentle, honest no that felt like fresh air in my chest. No, I'm sorry, I cannot do that right now. No, that doesn't feel true for me. No, I won't abandon myself to make you comfortable. And every no was terrifying at first. My whole body braced for rejection that never came, for conflict that mostly stayed soft, for punishment that never arrived. The old fear trembled, but the real me stood taller. And as I said no to what was not mine to carry, something astonishing happened. The residue began to crack. The false kindness began to fall away. The real compassion underneath could breathe, stretch, and root itself in soil strong enough to hold me too. Because here's the truth that my bones learned. True compassion is not martyrdom. True love does not require you to bleed to prove your worth. True kindness never asks you to disappear. The day that I said no, truly said no, was the day that my compassion grew roots, because for the first time, it included me. Before we close, let's do a sacred ritual together, a simple, powerful act. Close your eyes. Picture a belief that you are ready to release. Maybe it's a shame, scarcity, self-doubt. See it as an old coat, heavy, musty, ill-fitting, and breathe. Imagine unbuttoning that coat and slipping your arms free. Feel the relief, the air on your skin. Place the coat at your feet. Give it back to the earth, the infinite, the love that knows how to recycle old illusions into new life. Now say aloud, I am no longer clothed in this lie. I am clothed in light. I wear only what is real. Feel it. Feel it in your bones. Beloved, residue is sticky because it is familiar. You will find yourself picking up that old coat again out of habit, out of loyalty, out of fear. But every time you notice, every time you choose again, you weaken the residue's hold and strengthen your own sovereignty. So, here is your invitation. When you catch yourself living inside the borrowed, pause, breathe, bless it, release it, and choose what is real again and again and again. That is the holy practice. This is how the new inheritance is born. And so, my fellow butterfly travelers, thank you for sitting with me in this field today. Thank you for your honesty, your courage, your holy remembering. And may you know what is real in you cannot be lost. What is residue will fall away when you no longer feed it. You are the turning point in your lineage. You are the answered prayer. You are the freedom they didn't know how to ask for. You are real. You always were. Now take one last breath with me now. A breath that seals this truth into your marrow. Inhale. Exhale. Place your hand on your chest and whisper, I am real. I am free. I am the living proof that love lasts all residue. And until next time, thank you for sharing this sacred remembering with me. I love you truly and deeply, for in truth we are old friends, because we are one.